So it's mid-July and I wanted to take you guys through the farm, show you what's blooming right now. Also, I've got a wedding in just 3 days that I'm prepping for. I've actually booked 2 weddings that I'm gonna be growing the flowers for, providing stems, and they're gonna be kind of arranging them and doing their own things for their own DIY weddings. So I'm really excited about it. And also later on in the video, we're gonna be making some paper flower bouquets. Today's video is sponsored by Cricut, and I'm gonna be using my Cricut maker for the project. So lots of flowers today. This is my life, lots of flowers. Okay, let's get started in the garden. So now we're at the cut flower garden area. This is like my fenced, everything the deers want to eat are inside the fenced area. Something that I have that does so well up here and is just naturalized so well is this white yarrow. Actually, this is where like my daffodil are planted, but those guys are long gone since spring is gone. As soon as we start getting into the heat of summer, we lose all those, you know, early spring flowers, the tulips, the daffodil. But the yarrow, this white yarrow, I think is so beautiful. I'm definitely gonna give her a few sprigs of this because it just melds so well and like sits nicely beside any focal flower. And I'm gonna use this in my market bouquets this week. We've got some really, really long stems, and these are just up against the fence where I have all of my sweet peas. So I've been harvesting some sweet peas off of these guys. I don't know if I've got any more blooms. I did come out this morning and get them. I'll have to show you once we go inside what I've harvested off of them. But these are my sweet peas, climbing up the fence. Got lots of yarrow. I also am gonna be using some of these if they'll hold in the vase. These are just a flower that blooms here naturally. It's almost like a little wild daisy. Kind of looks like chamomile. So her colors are yellow, orange, a little pop of red, like, you know, warm tones. And then maybe a hint of like the poppies I've got, that kind of coral red, some bright red, and maybe a little bit of fuchsia. So total like garden party beautifulness. I can't come out here and not check out like the strawberries. See if we've got any that are ready. These are what I call like the rewards of gardening. You know, like when you come out here, you do a little weeding, do some harvesting, grab a little snack. I know the kids hit these guys up pretty hard yesterday. Oh, there's one. Look how big these guys are. Score! This year, my Bells of Ireland were pretty much a flop. It's my first time growing it. I tried to cold stratify, but didn't work out so well. They are really pretty. They've got these like, you see those bells in there? They're so pretty, but they just, what did I get? 1, 2, 3 plants. So instead of just keeping all this empty, I decided to go ahead and plant in some transplants of some zinnias. So I've got those in here. I just got those in a few days ago. Over here, I've got my scabiosas, no flowers yet, but soon I can see this bloom starting to set up here. That's gonna be really cool. So lots of scabiosas in here. Okay, I wanna show you what's actually blooming. It is tough, you know. One of the hardest parts I find with flower farming is like, it's beautiful, it is. It's amazing to have bucket loads of flowers and take them to market and share them. But the thing is, like, when you see these pictures of, you know, like Floret, you see all these flowers in her field. If I'm doing my job right, there are no like open blooms just all over in my field. If it's ready, you gotta cut it when it's ready. So when I look at my, you know, like Snapdragon patch here, I'm gonna show you guys a few that we've got. When I look at these, you know, it's not this huge thing of color because when they're ready, I've gotta pick them. So I see these little babies, like I picked last night, late last night, to make sure as soon as they've got like 3 to 5 buds that are actually open, I've gotta harvest them because you need to pick them when they're ready. Right now though, you can see I've got all of these ones set. Look at this. All beautiful snapdragons, like getting ready to come on. Something I'm really excited about that I'm like loving the color are these guys here. It's like a really light pink. I'll actually show you in the cooler. Maybe we'll do that next. Some of the ones that I'm loving the most. I think it's called bridal pink. This really pale pink with white. Another quick patch of yarrow just on the way to the garage. We've got some lupin. These guys are totally ready to pick. And I think these would actually be a really nice statement. She kind of wanted that fuchsia, like a little bit of purple fuchsia added in. I think those guys are gonna be it. Another quick pit stop. Have to grab some snap peas. Seriously, it's like handy. And I just love, like, when the kids come out here with me, they want to harvest, they want to eat the snap peas. They would never pick out snap peas at the grocery store, but when they're just here and they're fresh and they're sweet, like, the kids want to eat more veggies. And I'm hoping tomato season this year goes the same, where when the tomatoes are all on, everybody's gonna embrace the tomatoes and they're gonna, you know, actually get to taste sweet farm fresh tomatoes rather than like what you get at the grocery store, which is usually kind of sour, and I think why a lot of kids don't like vegetables, because they don't get to have the good farm fresh ones. This is where I keep all the flower goods. This is where all of the beautiful, perfect, picked at the right time stuff goes. Got a beautiful cosmos. This was my first cosmos. This guy actually opened up quite a bit. Actually, so I had a bit of a terror last night. I came out here to add stuff to the cooler. I had been out here the day prior adding. I add every single day up until like Friday when I'm making bouquets for the market. So nothing in here is more than like 5 days old. But I came in here and the refrigerator was not cold. And I thought, oh no, like the refrigerator's out. Like, what am I gonna do? It just wasn't closed all the way. So my husband helped me figure that out. We got it fixed. These are some of my David Austin roses, some of my garden roses. I believe this one's called Queen of Sweden. I have some white garden roses as well that are also David Austin roses, and these guys are called Tranquility. Beautiful roses. What else do I have in here? Some white Statice. These guys are so cool, and like, it's papery. The blooms are totally like paper, which is awesome. Like, you can totally dry these and they will dry beautifully. Same thing with strawflower, which I'll show you when we're back outside. I've got the last of my anemones, these blue guys in here, some more roses. Oh my gosh, tons of white yarrow and some Chinese forget-me-nots, these blue guys. I know the lighting right now is like not doing them justice, but they're the most brilliant blue, like so bright. I won't be able to use them for wedding flowers, but they are really cute. Now these are exactly what she wants, like this warm tone palette, these bright poppies. She's wanting kind of like a garden style, whimsical, natural, like bud vase table setting. So Iceland poppy is exactly what she wants. I'm gonna be giving her the ones that are still like in the closed bud, because I know these guys will open the day that, you know, they see sun and warmth. A lot of these guys opened when my refrigerator got too warm. Same thing with my iris. I know at the market she saw these iris and she was like, that's exactly what I want. So I'm gonna have to give her the ones that are still like, you know, super tight. Like this guy here, still super tight. This will open up as soon as it sees like the sun and a little bit of warmth. These guys here are probably gonna be a little bit too far along. Well, maybe still that one. But like this guy here, it's just a little bit too open to know that it's gonna last till Saturday. Just this bucket alone, like this is hundreds of stems. So I know I've got enough to give her like perfect selection for what she needs, but I know this is gonna be like the bulk of the palette. Also some dahlias, probably. I'm contacting another local grower right now, but I'm looking for some orange dahlias, like either the ball or the decorative type, and then maybe some red ones, like the red caps. I think they look really good. Back into the fridge. Okay, I need to put you guys up somehow so I don't have to kneel. There we go, that's a little better. So, in my storage of snapdragons, look how many we have. Like, compared to out in the field, there's like nothing, but in the cooler, there is everything. All of the colors preserved and just staying perfectly ripe. Because the thing is, you don't want, like, yes, you want fresh flowers. You want them as fresh as you can, getting them, you know, to somebody's table. However, you don't want them so far bloomed out, they're only gonna last for them like a day or two in their vase. If I pick them here, they're gonna last, you know, 4, 5, 7 days on their table. So it's really important to pick at the proper time and then not store them for too long. So I know we do the market every Saturday. Nothing's gonna be in here for too long. Let me show you guys some of my favorite colors though. This white, oh my gosh, I love this one. Or this bunch here, so many of these like pale pinks. I think these are called, what is it, bridal pink or pink? Oh, I'll have to link it. I got these from Johnny's, the seeds. And then, ooh, another white. These guys you have to be really careful because they will start to grow sideways. Like if you don't have them really tight in whatever you're storing them in, they will kind of like turn and like get a kink. Also, really important to grow them in like your horizontal netting. All that white netting that I have at the top, really important for these nice like straight stems. Some other really cool colors. This one here, we've got like so much pink in there, another yellow. Look at this one. This one's like massive. Look how big that's gonna be. Oh, I cannot wait to put these in bouquets. She'll probably want some of these yellows because I know yellow, orange, red, that's her colors. This one here is so pretty. It's like a deep, dark, like burgundy red. This one is also from Johnny's. It was in a mix, I think it's called the Costa series mix. Got some more pinks. Look how bright that one is. Oh my gosh, there's like so many, especially when you do a mix, like you really get good options. This one's definitely gonna go for her. This is more of like a warm toned red. I wouldn't call it a pink, it's definitely a red, but it's so bright. It's kind of like that coral red, and then the inside it's like a yellow. Perfect. Ooh, I've got some stock in here too. Here's one of the stalks. This is the Cat's Cherry Blossom. It's kind of like a periwinkle, like a pink lavender. And they smell, this is my favorite smelling flower. Like, forget oriental lilies, stock. And it has to be like locally grown, because if you get it from like the floral shop or the floral market, it's been in coolers its whole life and it's like 2 weeks old by the time you get it. No, you can't smell it like you can when it's fresh grown. The thing to note too with stock, and so here's what stock looks like, and then here is a snapdragon. So see, the snapdragon has like the really tall spike. Stock can kind of, they could be a little bit taller and bulkier. And my guys, I don't know why they're so short. But the thing to note is that snapdragons, so you cut them and then they'll come back. Each plant will produce like 6, 8, you know, maybe, will they do 10? I don't know, like 6 blooms. So you'll get 6 cuts off of one plant. Stock, it's a one and done. So you cut, you know, your whole patch of 50 stock and they're gone. It's a good thing in that you can, you know, plant something else there. So like I could plant sunflowers there and then in 60 days have a whole nother harvest of sunflowers if there's still time in the season. Or, you know, if it's, you could do the same thing. You could do more stock if you have enough time in your season. But the snapdragons are so nice because they just cut and come again. Same thing with zinnias, same thing with cosmos. They're very giving. It's a really giving plant. And like for me, for markets, you know, I need a new bouquet, you know, lots of bouquets every single week. Snapdragons are the way to go. Okay, what else? I think mostly, let's see, I've got some lupin back there. Mostly what I've got left is just Queen Anne's lace. These guys will grow like weeds if you can get them established. So pretty, they add like a nice little sparkle and like a nice little flat flower to kind of balance out some of the more like spikies, especially like those snapdragons. So yeah, that's what I've got in the cooler. Now let me take you back out, show you where I've got some more of these. I think they're actually chocolate Queen Anne's lace that I've got growing left, and well, let's go see. Back outside, so now we're actually in the cut flower garden. I've got a ton of lilies, this entire row here, all lilies. I've got like 2 eucalyptus plants inside there. I've got some crates of lilies. We started to get a vole issue, which is like a little field mouse. It started eating my bulbs. So we had a lot of loss from that, which is devastating. There's nothing quite like, you know, spending so much time and research and planning into like when everything's gonna bloom and like succession planting it so you have a steady supply. And then a mouse comes in and he like totally messes up your plan. So like, I have these sunflowers here. This is the area they devastated. I had sunflowers here, like 55 sunflowers planted, and now there's only 1 of that size. So this guy's just about to bloom. And then these guys, you know, 50 something more sunflowers. See the height difference? So they set me back. I'm only gonna have 1 sunflower ready to go. Frustrating. This is where all my roses come from. So like there's 3 plants here, 3 plants there. Ooh, that guy is over ready to be picked. And then these 3 back there. Those are Tranquility. This is Queen of Sweden. And then over here, these are my stock. So these guys totally ready to be picked. You can pick them when they're like 50%. The blooms are open. So those guys are ready to be picked this evening. this one, man, so small. Not very many blooms. Ready though. Another one over there. These guys, I'd give them a little bit more time. I definitely want to plant more stock next year. And then I'll probably replace these. Ooh, we only have like maybe 10 more weeks left in our season. Part of me wants to do sunflowers because I know they'd be ready in time, but they don't need this landscape fabric. So I'll have to think about what I'll replace them with, because you can definitely replace them right after. Other things that are blooming right now, we've got our strawflower. They're just like paper. It's wild. And then they've got these little baby blooms too. So with every big one, there's like a baby here, a baby here. These are great, I think I already said, but to dry them. And you do harvest them when there are like 5 rows opened. So before it's completely opened, like this guy should get picked tonight. A lot of these probably should get picked tonight. Walking by my snap pea forest. Let's see, our cosmos. Well, my battery died, so I came back in. It was good. I had a chance to do my nails and kind of do like a little mock-up here of what this bride is looking to do with my flowers. So I thought I would show you guys kind of what these flowers that I've got in the field are gonna look like once she gets them arranged. I don't know exactly the bud vases that she's going to be using. These are just ones that I've collected and then I've got, you know, like in my little rental stash. So what I know is that she wants to do like 10 bud vases on each table and just kind of stagger them a little bit wider than this, but I just want you guys to be able to see all the colors up against each other and close up. So we've got cress, I'll show you guys that. We'll go back out to the field and I'll show you. But this is that ocean spray. This is one of my Iceland poppies. Looks so cute in there. This is actually one that was like way too short. It like snapped off in harvest and we just kept inside. The rest of this is things that I cut earlier. This is that like daisy, wild growing stuff. I know she wanted things that are kind of more ethereal and just a little more whimsy. So this one here is a cosmos. My husband's playing farm games with the kids. This is one of those Siberian iris, the Queen Anne's lace. This is some of my salvia. I think this purple, it's really complements with the yellow and this kind of coral red. And then over here I've got the Statice, which I didn't get to show you guys yet because the camera died. Oh no, I did. It's the papery blooms. So yeah, that's what they look like. She's gonna have 10 vases and we've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 here. So just picture this spread out a bit more on a table with just a few more, you know, a couple more vases. I think it's gonna be really pretty. I'm gonna be getting, I think I said it already, but I'll be getting some dahlias from another local grower who's not quite so high up in elevation, some reds and some oranges, and that'll just like go with her kind of whimsy color palette so nicely. So yeah, that's sort of the look we're going for. I think before we head outside, I want to do like a late night harvest, you know, when it's cooler. I don't think I realized how hot I was until I came in to charge the battery. But while I'm waiting on that, I think let's go ahead and make our paper flowers since we're at the table already. I really want to show you guys how easy they are to make with this Cricut machine. I'm so excited to get going on this project. So we're gonna be making some paper flowers. This is one that I've already done. Isn't that amazing? It's a little anemone and the project was just in the design space. So I wanna have like 3 of these in the bud vase. I think that would look cool. Maybe just 2. I think 2 would actually fill it out pretty well, or just 1 is cute. But I've got the one already. I wanna do more. My goal is to be able to do some paper flowers, whether just like a bud vase or one of those gold like wire wreaths, to be able to sell at the farmer's market like during the winter and stuff. So I want to show you guys how to make them. So first off, we've got our paper. Obviously it's paper flower. You can also make these with the Cricut out of felt. I'm gonna go ahead with the white anemone again. So white paper, black, and green. I buy their cardstock just in like bulk, like a bulk package. And then this green was from a smaller pack. You need a glue gun and a floral wire. And that's literally all you need for the whole project. It's a super quick one. So I'll go ahead and share my computer screen with you. This is the Hope Anemone flower wall art. I'm actually not doing the wall art portion of it. I'm just using this for the flower template. Since I'm not gonna use the full design, I'm gonna click customize. That way I can go ahead and take out the like vinyl portion and this whole jar thing. So I'm just gonna go ahead and delete that. And then I don't have a scoring blade yet. I'm still waiting for mine in the mail. So I'm just gonna go ahead and delete anything that's calling for like scoring, because I know in this design I don't actually need it. So just those 3 little things, and then I'm just gonna click make it. That's like literally all I have to do to change up the template. So it's split my design into 3 different cuts for the colors. So we're gonna start out with white. So I'm just gonna line this up on my mat, go ahead and put it into the Cricut, load it, and then click continue. For this project, we're using the medium cardstock. I always like to say more pressure just so it's a really clean cut. And then we can go ahead and go. I stinking love this thing. Especially with these pre-done projects in the design space, like I'm just gonna sit back and peruse Instagram while it's doing the cuts. It's a really sweet deal. There we go, so it's done with white. I'm just gonna go ahead and kind of, I like to do just like a little roll, you know, just kind of like bending it like this. And then it helps, you know, your design to just kind of pop right off. So we'll weed these out, and then we'll get started with black and then green, and then we'll get to putting together the flowers. So we're all done with the machine. Now we're gonna go ahead and fold our paper. So you have 2 different types of petals, these white ones. You've got ones with kind of a dip in the middle, and then you've got ones with a point in the middle. For both of them, we're just gonna kind of fold them up. So I've got the textured side here is what I wanna see. I'm just gonna make, you know, fold the edges a little bit. And then you've got these wings, and you want them to cross over each other. So when you kind of like press them together and scoot the petal up, see how they cross like that? And then you kind of do a fold. See that? So that's giving us a good base when you kind of fold it down, something that we're gonna glue to. So I'm just gonna quickly do a little fold and then a crossover. Done on all of these. And then we'll start applying them to. Now we're gonna go ahead and grab our glue gun, and then we're just going to put the tiniest amount of glue just on one of those little flaps. Just like that. So it's made like a really sturdy petal. Now I'm gonna do the same thing with these petals with the points. Just go ahead and glue them so we've got a nice solid base. So now we're gonna take our little disc and the bigger petals that are for the bottom, and I'm just gonna do the tiniest amount of glue. You really wanna go small with these because you wanna keep it not, you know, like you don't want it to go too thick. So just the tiniest little amount of glue, and then just set it right next to it, like right on those little notches. See what I'm talking about? So there's like a little notch here, 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 1 petal each. Should look something like this, and then we'll go ahead with the next petals, and these guys will go in between. So like right in between where the other 2 were, just like that, and we'll keep going around. One thing too, you can grab a pen to kind of like push down in the center, because there is hot glue in there, but you can use a pen to kind of just tamp it down a little bit, get it all nice and secure. And then now we're gonna go ahead with the black pieces. So you've got this one, it looks like a little fence or something. If you have the scoring tool, it's the #1 like cutter scoring tool, it would have done a line like right across here, but since I didn't have mine yet, I'm just gonna go ahead and fold it. So I'm just folding where I saw that line. But basically it's like I just folded those little tabs down, and then it's gonna curl around, and then we'll glue this onto this. So that little center one will overlap. And then we're gonna take one of these little spinny discs. And this is what's going to go around that to make our center. So I'm just gonna kind of bend these down. We'll go ahead and glue this guy onto this guy. There we go. And I'll use the pen just to kind of press these edges down. We'll put a blob of glue in the bottom here and pop this guy in the center. And again, use the pen to press it down. That is all you need to do to make the flower part, but now let's go ahead and make the stem. So there's a couple pieces that cut out for your leaf. I'm just gonna use the bigger one here, and this is where I vary just like a little bit from the design, because I'm gonna make mine into a bud vase. So we're just gonna use the wire, and I'm just gonna poke a hole into the leaf. If you had like a needle or something, that'd probably work better. And then I'm just gonna fold a little bit over, like just gonna bend it just ever so slightly, so that we have something to kind of keep this locked in as the stem. Pull that up, put a dab of glue right here, and then we'll just add our flower on top. I'm gonna use my pen just to give me a little bit of resistance there so we can press against the glue. And there you go, you've got a flower on a stem. Just go ahead and cut the bottom of it like to whatever size. You can even, like, if you just kind of fold over your wire and then give it a little test run, see if you like that height before you cut it. I would probably recommend a thicker gauge wire too. That way you've got just a little more control over placement. Isn't that cool? Paper flowers are the coolest thing. I swear this is gonna be like the next big craft thing. And I'm definitely gonna use these on wreaths, because think how easy that would be just to like wrap this around like your wreath form, and it'll just stay in place, and it's an everlasting bouquet. So cool, and I think I'm gonna leave it as 2. I think that looks really cute in the vase. It's like the right size. Well, I know we got cut off on our tour of the garden and what's blooming right now, and I do wanna get back to that. So I'm gonna go ahead and put away my paper. I'll probably do this later tonight once the kids are in bed. I'll just make up some more flowers and just make a little craft night of it. But let's go ahead, go back out to the garden, and I'll give you guys a tour. So this is where we left off, right here at the Cosmos. I wanted to stand back to show you guys sort of how tall this stuff is. So I've got my netting, this is my horizontal netting. You can see it's about there on the Cosmos, and it's just growing up, up, up. And I might actually go ahead and just raise this a little higher, because this support netting is basically to keep your plants from, you know, falling down in like a heavy wind or rain. Mostly wind here. We haven't had rain for a long time. That's why my sprinkler is going right now. So here's a bloom. This is going to be one of the fuchsia ones. This is going to be a white Cosmos bloom. I love these, and the foliage on them is so pretty too. So we've got Cosmos just about to bloom. Over here we've got Zinnias. These guys are coming up through the netting, and some of these I pinched. So you can see like this one here, I took right at this central growing tip, I went ahead and I snipped that out. And so what that did, so you can see it compared to one that I did not pinch, so it's shorter. I cut off like a good 4 inches. But then what we've got is these little side shoots, which are coming out the base. So these are gonna be like a nice workable size, a nice workable stem, and I'll cut them low once they bloom. So they're a little bit behind, like they're not ready to cut or anything. This one actually is budding up, and this guy's gonna be ready soon. But the negative is that look how thick like the stalk is gonna be. It's like the size of maybe my index finger. So that's gonna be a little bit harder to put in a bouquet. So depending on what you're using them for, and depending on how early you need them, like it might be better to pinch. So this one here is pinched. You can see like multiple guys coming out. This one is just a single, so it was never pinched. It's just gonna be one big one out the middle, same as here. These guys, I got a little impatient and I was like, I don't wanna pinch them, I just wanna get some blooms earlier. So that is what we have there. Kind of a mix, pinched, not pinched, Zinnias. See, oh, here we are back at the Statice. Let's hop over. I wanna show you guys the cress, which I'm gonna use for sure for her arrangements. And I showed you guys this in those little bud vases. So cress, it's already bloomed, and they have like these little tiny white blossoms. And then it becomes the prettiest, like the seed pods become the prettiest filler. And the nice thing about this is I can either use it when it's green like it is now, Or I can like let this go completely seedy and turn brown, or dry it, and it's still gonna be so pretty. So I've got a lot of cress here. And for what she's using, you know, some of the smaller ones are actually gonna be ideal, or even like on some of the larger ones, the side shoots would be good. These look really fun with poppies. And honestly, cress looks good with so many different things. I've got some cress here. I've got a different variety of cress here. These guys are a little bit more petite. These are a little smaller. And you can still see some of the flowers are like on here. So not quite ready to pick. It does need to be a little bit further along too, so that it's sturdy enough and it'll hydrate. Here's some more cress. I've got, I think I mentioned my chocolate Queen Anne's lace a little bit earlier. This guy is a little bit larger, and the foliage on this is kind of fun and red. I thought those guys were gonna be chocolate, but honestly they look so similar to just the regular Queen Anne's lace that I have. I don't know. That's one of those we'll have to just wait and see what happened there. Next door to the cress here, I've got rudbeckia, or black-eyed Susan. These guys are just about to open up. Like when they're just starting to unfurl, that is exactly when you want to pick them, so it's the least likely to have bug damage. They're like a little miniature sunflower, and I hope these are going to be open in the next couple days, because these would be so perfect with her palette. I've got like, this guy is about to open, this guy's about to open. I know I have some more too, a little further down the line. This guy's about to open, this one. Over here, this one's like almost opening. These are very productive as well, and you cut them and they'll just keep branching out and producing. Also blooming right now, these I cannot use, but I've got some marigolds, and these are great to give to your chickens. Actually, a lot of people will sprinkle these. They'll just kind of deadhead them, and they'll sprinkle the petals in like their chickens' bedding to just kind of keep the bugs away, because they do repel buggies. And also they're good if your chickens eat them. They have like good vitamins and minerals, and I think they'll actually give your chickens' egg yolks a little bit brighter of a color too, just with what they've got naturally in there. There's a fun red one. I intentionally planted marigolds right next to my tomato plants, and also zinnias next to my tomato plants. The thought is that these bright colors will bring in the bees. So I've got my beehive right there. The bright colors bring the bees to this area, so while they're pollinating, then hopefully they will hit these little yellow tomato flowers too and get them pollinated, so we have the most tomato harvest possible. And I've also planted my green beans, so I've got a whole strip of green beans right next to these tomatoes and marigolds and zinnias, and the same thing there. The hope is that these bright colors will draw the bees in, the beans, you know, getting pollinated. Also the beans, they actually have like little nodules in their roots, and that's supposed to help feed and kind of like promote good health with the tomatoes. There's lots of little tricky tips and things when you're planting a garden. Things go well together, and interplanting different species of plants, flowers with your veggies, with your fruits, all of that stuff, it produces a better harvest overall. So if you do vegetables, you need to also do flowers. It's amazing how long this like it's amazing, like it's getting late now, and the sun has just persisted like so late. I guess we're in some of the longest days because we're in summer, but it just seems like it stays light out for so long right now. One of the things that I love the most about gardening and my flowers is just the peace that comes with being outside more, with being around nature. You know, while I'm out harvesting or even weeding, I'm kind of just like alone with my thoughts, or alone with my kiddos to talk and just kind of breathe a little deeper and slow down just a little more. And with everything going on in the world right now, it would be easy to just like sit inside and, you know, kind of think about the stressors or watch the news, and just like, you know, some people just watch it every day over and over. It just like cycles through, and it's depressing. So I feel like being able to, you know, keep up with what's going on, but then also get away a little bit and have that nature time and like peace with your thoughts and your family is really important. And I love that about gardening. It's one of my favorite parts about it. Up here behind the beehive, I've got some more salvia. These guys are actually the parents that we took the seed from, that we grew all those other babies from, but we did move them this year. So we've got some that are pretty long stems, but they did get moved. So see, look at this beautiful, just in nature, the process happening right before our eyes. We got a really beautiful bumblebee just doing his thing. You can't help but just like stop what you're doing and look at his fur and look at his wings and think about how, you know, they're just doing this work. Like, they were created to do this, to help the flowers, to make them go to seed, and like, he's beautiful. Oh, and then I go and scare him away. But you know, you just feel so much more connected to like your food and your flowers and your community even too, when you bring, you know, your produce or your flowers to the people around you, your friends and family. And like for us at the farmer's market, like, it's just so neat to kind of embrace local and seasonality and all of that. I almost ended our tour and I didn't even show you guys the dahlia patch. Oh my goodness. And this is what I've been working the most hard on lately, is getting all of my dahlias dug in. So across this whole hill up here, I've got rows upon rows of dahlias. So big row here, big row here, big row here, big row there. Just with all of our dahlias, started at different times. These guys I started inside and in pots, and I let them grow up, and then I planted them out. These guys just recently. Some of these others, I planted them just the bare tubers, and they're starting to pop out or pop up here and there. Same thing with these guys. They're just starting to pop up here and there. And then further up on the hill, which I started mulching with the kids with the straw, and it just kind of got a little, we ran out of time, to be honest. So we've got some straw in random places. I know it looks terrible. But over here is where I've got the oldest of my dahlias, like the ones that were planted the earliest. These guys I planted, I want to say just a week past our last frost date, and they got hit hard with frost. So actually, it was kind of like nature did its own little pinch on these guys, because, you know, they got a lot of frost damage, and then it basically killed the plant off, but then it sent out little side spikes. So some of these I have pinched myself, and I went and I cut that center stem. So like this one here, I cut the center, and then it's sending out spikes. But others, it was like it did its own natural pinching. And so then these guys are coming out really low, and we've got our first dahlia buds. So you can see like over there, we've got different dahlia buds popping up. It's incredibly exciting to me to see these guys actually coming to life. Like, it's so exciting. Looks like this here is one that has not been pinched, because I can see, you know, this central stem here. Look how thick that's gonna be. You see that? Really, really thick. But this was one of the ones that got like a natural pinch, because the center stem there basically got killed by the frost, and then it sent out two more, but from really low. So I'm gonna let this guy just grow up and do its thing. Next year, my plan with dahlias is to again start them in pots and let them grow on for maybe 6 weeks, probably 4 weeks before our last frost. And then I'll plant them out 2 weeks past the last frost. So they'll be in pots for like 6 weeks, but I'm not gonna put them out until we're like a good 2 to 4 weeks past the last frost date, because it's just so sneaky. Unless I can put some tunnels or something over the top of these, just some low tunnels. That way I can shield them, because it drops down here into like the 30s. It got down to like 36 degrees, I think, after we weren't supposed to get any frost, and that's just way too cold for dahlias. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed the tour, and I hope you enjoyed the project. If you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the next one. I'll see you soon.